He's one of the fastest players on the field, and sometimes he's pretty fast off the field when he's driving in his expensive supercar on the way to his football games. Tyreek Hill got pulled over and roughed up a bit by a squad of biker cops on the way to his football game this past Sunday, and the body cam footage has already been released by Miami Dade PD. Get out! As always, when something like this happens to a high-profile individual such as Tyreek, the takes get a little bit spicy online. So why don't we see what all the fuss is about? Beginning of this video has no sound, but that comes on once they realize they're going to be pulling this guy over. These are the guys right now just kind of chilling. Pretty close to the stadium. It looks like this might be a construction zone or a work zone based on all these obviously orange barriers here. You're going to see on the left side a couple cars driving pretty slow. They're all moving pretty slow. Still moving pretty slow. Here he comes. Yoing. So he's clearly going a little bit too fast. No question that was probably worthy of being pulled over, especially if this is a construction zone of some sort. There's nothing that I've seen that has said whether it was or not. But here we go. Off to the races.
How's there speeding? Move forward.
So the officer, he asked before the body cam turned on, he said, why are you pulling me over? And he said, because you're speeding. Pull over. Got it.
Yeah, we got him here. 6 o'clock.
Now, pulls him over. He was speeding. Shit like this happens all the time, right? Just want to say this before we get into it. I've said this a million times when we watch body cams. It's typically pretty easy to just get the speeding ticket, be on your way, not a big deal. Some people, for whatever reason, feel the need to, well, whatever. You just watch. You just watch. This could have been avoided, is all I'm trying to say.
Hey, don't knock on my window like that, man. Don't knock on
Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Don't knock on my window.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on?
Knock on my window like that, no.
Like what?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up?
Don't knock on my window like that.
Why you have it up? I have to knock to let you know I'm here. That way you can lower it and talk to you.
Just get my ticket, bro, so I can go. I'm finna be late, gang. Do what you gotta do.
Fuck me.
Keep it down. Hey!
So right out of the gates, just a tenuous interaction between Tyreek and the officer. I don't think it's that unusual to knock on a window. Obviously, the first thing you need to do, especially when windows are blacked out and tinted like that, is to have eyes on the subject. Officers are trained to protect themselves, and they deal with a lot of dangerous people a lot of the times. In this case, as we're watching this video, like knowing who the subject is, we kind of have a different lens. We're looking at it through a different lens than maybe these officers on the scene were. But Tyreek seemed a little bit combative at first when it didn't have to be.
Keep your window down.
So he rolls the window back up. This officer's not pumped about it.
Hey! Keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
Shit just
get out of the car.
Goes from 0 to 100.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now.
So the second officer right there threatens to break the window if he doesn't open it or get out of the car. And he asks him to get out of the car, and he says, you know what? No, fuck that. I'm going to pull you out of the car instead.
We're not playing this game. Get out.
We're not playing this game. 0 to 100.
Get out!
Like,
What part of blood are you in this car? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, dude. I'm getting arrested.
so he's on the phone with Drew Rosenhaus, popular NFL agent.
When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? You understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you. You're not fucking confused.
I'm getting out, bro.
Too late.
Chill,
Too late.
All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro.
We are. We will.
Good, bro.
It is good.
It is good. So at this point moving forward, this is when I felt, okay, things probably escalated a little heavier than they needed to. I already talked about how I felt about his initial interaction with the officer, where like you didn't need to be so combative right out of the gates. Like you knocked on your window, you just license, registration, give me my ticket, on your way, get to the game, whatever the case may be. But then just the threatening to break the window and then ripping him out of the car by his hair and, you know, on the ground, the whole 9 yards, to me feels a little bit excessive. And you're going to see as the video goes on, some of Tyreek's teammates get involved as they get on the scene, and the cops treat them the same way. Just it feels just overly excessive, like they don't need to be that aggressive. Just, you know, figured out. We're talking about like a little, this is a traffic violation, right? The dude was just going a little bit too fast on the way to the game. It's not like he was evading and abetting or like on a high-speed chase or like a wanted criminal for some sort of robbery. Like the only precedent to this was him going a little bit fast.
I hung up the phone. You stop crying.
Bro, God.
Couple fans on the way to the game, yeah. Sorry, your star wide receivers on the pavement right now. They're probably like, is that time? That looks like Tyreek Hill. Huh, that's weird. Looks just like him. It's crazy. He's probably at the stadium already. I don't know. Right, so they got him cuffed up.
I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery on my knee, bro.
I just turned you in your ears when we told you to put your window down.
Chill, bro. Hey, don't do, bro. Hey, come on.
So they trying to force him onto the pavement, and he's saying, you know, listen, I just had surgery on my knee. Relax, right? Reasonable request.
Back off right now.
This is Calais Campbell, one of the defensive linemen on the Miami Dolphins.
I have to talk to you. Go back. Go back. Go back. Wait. Pass that card. Pass that card. You want to be in handcuffs too? All right, then back up. We're not playing this game here, man.
What game are we playing here? Like, what game is he referring to? What game are we not playing? Like, this cop just seems so generally, you know what? I would probably be jaded too if I was a cop and I had to deal with dumb shit all the time, quite frankly. So maybe I understand, but at the same time, like when people are being like respectful, just like want to know what's going on, I don't know. Again, I get it. I can try and see it from both sides. Like this is a particular scene. You don't just want random people. You don't know anything about this guy. You don't know anything about these people. You can't just have people coming over, like talking to Tyree, like interrogating, but like all of this over a little speeding ticket just seems a little bit crazy. He was actually later placed in handcuffs from what I read in an article. Calais Hill, they don't show that on the body cam.
It's not your business. Keep going back. Hey, get back in your car.
That car's probably pretty quick.
Get back in your car and leave. You gotta go before you get a ticket.
I'm not driving.
Who's the driver?
This is my car.
All right, move. You gotta move right now. Let me have your license. You get a ticket too.
I'm coming.
Let me have your license. You get a ticket. Let me have your license.
This is Jonnu Smith, the Dolphins tight end. Same thing. He's they're on the phone. They're like, yo, they're going to a game. They got to let people know, like Tyreek's literally on the sidewalk in handcuffs right now. They don't know if he's going to get detained, arrested, whatever it might be. So they're trying to figure it out. And just we're not playing this game right now, fool. He's up there just going after it.
I'm not playing. Let me have your license. Your license right now. Your license right now. You're not going to give me your license?
This is when I was like, bro, are you he's demanding his license now all of a sudden? He wasn't even involved. He's just there like, I don't know, 30 yards from it. Now you're demanding he give you his license. Is that even, I don't know the rules typically, but that seems, oh, you're not going to give me your license? You're not going to give me your license because I asked you, oh, we're not going to play that game, fool.
You're not going to give me your license?
I'm leaving.
Let me have your license. Your license right now. Hey, your license right now. Or I'm going to lock you up. Your license right now. Your license right now.
This dude's just going to arrest everybody.
Your license right now.
Everyone within a 50-yard perimeter of this potential speeding ticket, you're all getting arrested. I'm not playing this game right now. This isn't a game.
We're not playing this game here, man.
What game is that, officer? The game where your wife of 20 years cheated on you and you're fucking bitter and now you're just taking it out on everybody that you come across in your day job, bro? Fucking chill, dude. Relax. God damn it. Doesn't need to be this bad.
What's the thing going, man? My license in my bag. Let me get
All right, go get your license.
Let me get my bag, man.
Close that door.
The suicide doors on the... I don't even know what car. Is that a Rolls Royce? I don't know what that is. I mean... and his license. got the whole crew, dude. That's a lot of bike cops right there. So that's most of the footage that we've seen so far. I'm sure there's going to be more footage that comes out eventually. From most of the clips I saw on Twitter circulating earlier today, it didn't actually show the beginning where it showed Tyreek passing the cops initially. It just started when he was essentially knocking on the window. So it was good to get that context. It was obvious that Tyreek was going a little bit fast. Some people are like, oh, he's going 3 times the speed limit. Like, he didn't reply. Like, obviously, when you go on the internet, everyone's going to be like, all you got to do is comply with cops, blah, blah, blah. And then other people are like, oh, this is the most outrageous thing I've ever seen. Abuse of power, all this shit. For me, both. Yeah, Tyreek absolutely could have avoided the situation by not being combative to start. But once that ship sailed and it was like, we're ripping you out of the car, from then on, it was just like, just felt way too unnecessarily aggressive to me. The gray area for me is like with the knocking on the window and the window up and down thing. I don't know the rules around that. I've seen some people say that you're not required by law to have your window down during a traffic stop. I don't know what that, at least for the entirety of it, you obviously have to give them your credentials, license, registration, all that shit. But the threat to break the window, and then part of me goes to a place of like, all right, if you have tinted windows and you are in a traffic stop, police are obviously trained to protect their life, right? And there's situations where if they can't see what's going on inside the car, they don't know what the hell could be happening. Someone could be reaching for a gun. They could be doing whatever. So you want line of sight on the person you're pulling over or whatever. So I get that. But once that was established and it was like, it just felt a little bit too aggressive. So you probably already know this if you're a football fan, but Tyreek didn't technically get arrested. He got detained, but eventually let go, made it to the game. And at the game, ripped off like an 80-yard touchdown run like he loves to do, and did a little perp walk celebration, which was kind of funny. Here he goes. I think this, yeah, bye-bye. So the Dolphins ended up going on to win this game, which was probably serendipitous for Tyreek. And then he does, we'll skip ahead. Here he goes. Gets the perp walk, end zone celebration going. Got him. Nice. Tyreek's attorneys have since also put out a statement that they're exploring, all the legal remedies that may be available to them because they believe the officers were excessive. In that statement, they did mention a few of the ways in which Tyreek probably could have acted better. Their last paragraph states, Mr. Hill understands the inherently dangerous job that law enforcement is tasked with and understands that officer safety is important. Totally agree with that. However, at no point in time did Mr. Hill pose a threat to these officers. I guess the only disagreement there could be with the whole window thing, with it being tinted, like they don't know who he is. I've already gone over that. We believe this matter was escalated due to the overzealous officers attempting to impose their authority on Mr. Hill because they were not pleased with how fast he complied with their request and that Mr. Hill did not roll down his window far enough to their liking. That's kind of a little bit of a cell phone in that statement. It's like, yeah, that's exactly why things escalated, because he didn't comply with what they were asking him to do. Now, whether you think their requests were reasonable, that's a whole nother story. The thing for me is we've watched so many body cams on this channel with people acting so irate and out of control and drunk and messed up on drugs, after driving drunk in accidents, screaming, kicking, spitting, like the whole 9 yards. And in almost all of those videos, we oftentimes see cops that are like acting patiently, letting them get away with a lot, knowing that they're out of control and just kind of like going through the process to get them detained in the car to the police station. It was like, this is a dude that's sober on the way to a football game. And yeah, he was a little bit iffy around the window being rolled down thing, but they immediately went full bore, like on the pavement, telling all his friends to fuck off, putting his teammate in handcuffs who wasn't even involved, threatening this other dude, forcing him to give him their license. He wasn't even involved, really. Like, I guess you could say, well, they were making themselves involved by trying to, be close to the scene or whatever. But the whole thing just seemed blown way out of proportion. Reminds me a lot of the Scottie Scheffler incident not that long ago, just a couple of months, when Scottie Scheffler, the #1 golfer in the world, gets like cuffed and stuffed and arrested and fingerprinted on his way to his tour event. In fact, I saw kind of a funny tweet earlier. It says, if Scottie Scheffler hadn't been arrested at the PGA and actually taken to jail in Louisville and had to stretch for his golf round in the jail cell, every sports media member in America would be using Tyreek Hill's story to argue all cops are racist. Thanks, Scotty. I mean, this is the problem with stuff like this, is like the second something like this happens, it just turns into a race thing. Interestingly, I don't know, but by the sound, of the voice of the arresting officer, whatever, the lead officer with the body cam, it sounded like he was not Caucasian and he was a minority of some sort. I don't even know if you would call it what sounded like a Spanish person a minority in Miami, quite frankly. I think they're probably the majority at this point. But yeah, it's always interesting how the media spins things and how the discourse evolves on the internet based strictly around the race of the people involved. Ultimately, it's the whole thing could have been avoided and it was stupid, but glad he was able to make it to the game, play a good game, and ultimately glad that nobody got hurt or in more trouble than really needed to, because when some things like that escalate, if there's one person on scene that flies off the handle, shit can go south really, really fast. That's the problem. That's my thing, is like, if you don't, as the officers, if you don't need to bring it to that level, like, you shouldn't bring it to that level, because it's only going to get everyone else amped up when they really didn't need to be. This guy says, besides Tyreek telling them not to bang on his window like that, what did he do to deserve the aggressive nature from the cop with tattoos? And John, who's on the phone, not being disrespectful, willing to comply, and one officer who told him to leave, but then another officer comes in purely aggressive. Calais Campbell, backing up, being compliant, also met with aggressiveness. Should not have escalated to this. Totally agree. This thing just screams power trip from the officers on scene. That's from a Dolphins fan, of course. The reply says, they're Cuban cops, man. All of them in Dade County are on some steroid binge. It's roid rage. That's clearly a generalization and no way to corroborate that. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe. So Cuban cops, that makes sense. That makes sense just from the sound of the voice. So that was it. I'm curious what your guys' opinion is. Love to hear about it in the comments. I kind of just went through it off the cuff there with you guys, and that's how I feel. I think both parties were at fault in some way, and totally could have been avoided, but who knows? I'm glad nothing worse came from it, and I appreciate you guys being here. And I mean, this might be the fastest I've ever responded to something topical happening ever. So, you know, old Leon approaching 40, things don't move as quick as they used to. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace. Oh yeah, and don't forget to hip thrust that motherfucking like button. I appreciate you. Dude.